Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and welcome to the Karey Carbaugh podcast, episode number 55. Buenas noches, damas y caballeros, chicos y chicas, niños de todas edades, y bienvenidos a el Karey Carbaugh podcast, episodio número 55. Welcome. My name is Karey Carbaugh, and this is the Karey Carbaugh podcast. And we are on episode number 55. I've titled tonight's episode, Are You Vision Impaired? And I'm doing a little bit of a play on words there. For some of you who know me, I am visually impaired. But by vision impaired, I'm talking about something completely different. And you'll see what I mean here in a minute. This topic actually came to me last week during church, so I need to give a shout out and give credit to Pastor Nick for some of these ideas, because this occurred to me during his sermon, and I may be splitting this into multiple parts because I didn't get a chance to take all the notes that I wanted to from this past Sunday's sermon. So we may end up with a couple of segments of this, but I wanted to at least lay the groundwork here by what I meant. For those of you who know and have been following these podcasts, I have been striving to help people with their self-esteem. And I believe casting a vision for your life, for your purpose, is a huge part of self-esteem. And that's what I wanted to focus on tonight. So the vision I'm talking about is not sight, but rather a plan or a vision for your life, for your dreams. Last week we talked about setting New Year's resolutions, and I thought this was a good follow-on segment to that, because we talked about how goals are really better than resolutions, because resolutions, people make them, and they tend to break them within the first few weeks or within a month or two. Many people break their New Year's resolutions because they resolve to do something, they decide they're going to do something, but they don't put the plans behind it. And it occurred to me as I was listening to the sermon on Sunday that part of the plans includes having a vision. Without a vision, it's very difficult to set a plan. And you'll see what I mean as we go along through this. If you would, let me know if you're watching this live by dropping the word live or L in the comments. Or if you're watching this on the replay, drop an R or the word replay in the comments. And let me know where you're dialing in from. It's always interesting for me to see where people are tuning in from. So if you would, that would be great. And smash that like button. Hit the like if you like this. As we're going through this, that always helps reach more people. So smash that like button if you do. So let's get back to our topic here. What is vision? Well, I would like to suggest to you, and I'm going to be reading some notes off my phone. As I say, I took some notes. I re-listened to the sermon and got some notes jotted down, but I certainly didn't get through everything that I wanted to get through. But I would like to suggest, and this comes loosely from what Pastor Nick said on Sunday, I would like to suggest that vision is a desired outcome. How you hope things will be in the future. Perhaps you've already started that planning and that direction. Maybe not. So it's how you hope things will be in the future. How will they be different? If you would, Pastor Nick did this on Sunday, and I thought this would be a good exercise to do here. So if you would, close your eyes for a moment and picture yourself 5 years from now. How old will you be? What will your life look like 5 years from now? How old will your children or grandchildren be 5 years from now? If you have a vision, what is your vision for your life 5 years from now? And will that look different if you don't follow your vision? Either way, 5 years from now, you will be 5 years older than you are today, with or without a vision. You can open your eyes now. I'm trying to unlock my phone here so I can get back to my notes. There we go. So that's a really good way to start to think about a vision and cast a vision for your own life. The next piece is to think about whether your vision, whether your okay. Think about, let's back up here a moment. Think about what is bothering you. Is there something in your life or in the world that is bothering you, that gives you angst, or perhaps burdens you in some way? Now think about, is that burden from God? Is it perhaps something that bothers God? And we can know this, of course, by reading His Word. As I've shared with you before, I don't push my faith on anyone, but I also don't hide the fact that I am a Christian. So we can know what bothers God by reading His Word. And He'll tell us, maybe not real directly, but we can read into what He says and figure out the kinds of things that bother God, the kinds of things that are important to God. That's how we can determine the difference between a vision that is from God or a vision that is from ourselves, or a purpose that is from God versus a purpose that is from ourselves. So given that, what bothers God? And hang on here, okay, there we go. Think about how things are versus how you think they should be in the future. That's where vision begins. That's where a vision for your life, your business, even your relationships and your self-esteem. You could put this into play with pretty much any aspect of your life. And as you think about that, how do you think things should be in the future? Whether that's 1 year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Are you planning to be retired? Do you need to cast that vision to get you to retirement? If there's steps that need to happen before that. This is where I think this fits in very nicely with what we talked about last week regarding New Year's resolutions and goals. Perhaps we should have done this before the beginning of the year, but as we discussed last year, it's not necessary that those goals be set on day one of a new year. You can set vision and set goals anytime that they become a priority, anytime that you find something in your life that is burdening you. We should be content. The Bible tells us we should be content in our faith. But we also should have a level of godly discontentment, as Nick called it, with the way things around us are. Now, what do I mean by that? And again, I took much of this from Nick loosely, from Pastor Nick. We should be content with our life, with where we are. God has us where we are for a purpose. Perhaps we are in a season in our life that is not an easy season. But we are called to be content with where we are. However, we are also called not to necessarily be unhappy or upset with how things are, but we're called to have a godly sense of discontentment, especially if it's something that we can clearly see in the Bible God would not be content with. And with that godly discontentment, again, it's not that we should be unhappy or have low self-esteem because of the way things are. Rather, we should have this godly discontentment which can enable us to lean on Him and His Word to maybe not fix things, but to improve them, to move that needle even just a slight bit toward the way things should be, according to you, and hopefully according to God, if you're focused in the right direction. I hope you're getting value from this. If you are, drop the word value or a V in the comments. And if you can relate to any of this, drop an R, or actually R is for replay. We already did that one. Drop the word relate in the comments if you can relate to any of this that I'm saying. And so that's what I meant by, are you vision impaired? As I was thinking through this, in some areas of my life, not only am I visually impaired, sight-wise, but I'm also somewhat vision impaired, meaning that I'm stuck in discerning, in finding that vision for parts of my life. I'm still refining exactly where I want this podcast to go and casting the longer-term vision for this podcast. I know a piece of it, and I'm seeking God's guidance and wisdom for other pieces of it. But I've got to admit, play on words intended, I'm a bit vision impaired when it comes to a few different aspects of my life. I've been struggling with some transportation changes this week and trying to cast a vision for how things should be. They made some changes to the bus system this week, and some of my connections aren't working as well as they had been previously. I've looked into other options. Some of those other options are not working as well as they should be. Lyft and Uber and some other shared ride services in town. I thought about doing a podcast on just that tonight because I was so frustrated, but I decided that would not be good for me or for you or anyone else to do such a podcast out of frustration and anger. So I mention that only from the standpoint, and I'm looking at ways that I can perhaps cast a vision to help not only myself, but others who rely on the public transportation and the bus systems in town. So I bring that up as an example of you can use these techniques to cast vision for pretty much anything in your life. And we hear this a lot. Businesses cast vision. I work for a community college. We always have a vision statement of where we're going to be in 5 years. Sometimes that gets a little bit frustrating to hear that word over and over and over. But if we look at it from this lens, that God's lens, perhaps we will not be quite so vision impaired. I hadn't actually thought of that play on words or pun until I just said it there. Looking through God's lens, like looking through glasses, can help us see and cast that vision more clearly according to His purpose. And with that, I'm going to bring this in for a landing. That's pretty much all I had to share tonight. As I said, I may do another segment on some more of this, but I think this will also lead us into a couple of other topics that have been requested by some of you. So I'll be looking into those and bringing those in the next few weeks. Once again, if you got value from this, drop a V or the word value in the comments and let me know that. It's always helpful for me to know what's resonating with people. And until next week, this is pretty much all I had for this episode. If you would like to be added to my email list, drop the word email in the comments and I will reach out to you and get your email address. Or you can direct message me privately and send me your email address. You don't have to share that publicly. But I am planning some more private events that I'd like to invite those who are interested to join. So with that, this has been the Karey Carbaugh Podcast, and I am Karey Carbaugh. Make it a great week until we meet again, and be a blessing to those around you. Do something positive for those people that you come in contact with this week. And make it a blessed week. I will say goodbye for now until next week.